Hey everybody, sorry I'm a little late, couple of minutes, not too bad, 7:02 this time. I think the last time I was about 6-7 minutes late. Hey, before we begin, we got a leap year baby in the house, so happy birthday Scott Finger. Happy birthday to you. He was just saying in the chat just now that he is still a teenager, because I guess the laws of mathematics work out in your favor. So happy birthday, Scott. I'm so glad you're here. And do you celebrate today? Do you celebrate tomorrow? Let me know in the chat. How do you actually celebrate a leap year birthday? It still confuses the hell out of me. Well, while I wait for your response on that, let's go right ahead and get into tonight's topic, which is leadership credibility. How do we get leadership credibility? Well, the first thing I'm going to throw out there for you is, well, before we even get there, being a leader, you have a credit score, just like you do with paying your bills, not paying your bills, and the bank looks at you and says, hey, you're a creditable person, I'm going to lend you money. Well, in the same essence, we as leaders have the same thing. We have a credit score. This is how we gain followers. Makes sense, right? You do all the right things, your beacon score goes up. Do some wrong things, and unfortunately it goes down. So let's have that conversation tonight. So the first thing I want to throw out there, and I think this is true, is that the number one thing that adds to your credibility as a leader is your trustworthiness. Now, I told Chrissy, my wonderful bride, that tonight it's full of tongue twisters. So you're going to have to forgive me if my tongue doesn't match up to what I'm saying, because there are some tongue twisters. So trustworthiness will be the number one thing that adds to our credibility. So do the people that you lead, does the team actually trust you on a daily basis? Are you trustworthy? Can they go to you in confidence and know that what they're going to tell you is not going to go any further? Are you the type of person that if you do get confidential information, you're not going to blabbermouth that to other people? You're not going to have water cooler talk. Now, water cooler talk, even if you're not naming the person by name, but yet you're having that conversation about, hey, someone on my team is suffering from this, that, or the other thing. You know, that's confidentiality. That's trustworthiness. Are you a leader who is trustworthy? Number one thing to add to your credibility. Okay, so Scott just chimes in. He says that yesterday his wife made him oxtail. Oh my, now, Scott, was that oxtail soup? Or was it straight, we're going to have it off the bone? Because I've had it both ways. So I'm kind of curious about that. Was that a birthday dinner just for you? Because that's pretty exciting. Oh, my apologies. I'm going to go ahead and silence my phone. But, yeah, I'm kind of curious about that, because a lot of people don't appreciate oxtail. I happen to be one that does. So, curious about that. Soup or right on the bone? So, yes, getting back to trustworthiness. You know, you have to be a trustworthy person, period, in order to start building on your credibility. Next one, and, you know, I talked about this for this week's video, but I do have to ask, are you, as a leader, are you being reliable? Now, I've been told, and I'm noticing I'm looking a little red in the camera, but we'll work with it. I'm supposed to look at this camera when I'm talking to you tonight, so I'm going to try that out. Is eye contact in this camera better, or do you like the side view? You know, help me out. Let me know. But I'm going to look into this camera, and right now I'm going to tell you, reliability. Are you there when your employees, your team members need you? Are you reliable? Or do you show up haphazardly, never a schedule? You know, today I'm going to show up at 7, tomorrow I'm going to show up at 9. I'm going to show up after everybody leaves and goes to work. And hopefully I'll be gone before they all come back. Are you the leader that's reliable? Are you the leader that if someone needs something from you, you're going to follow through? And we're going to talk about that later on. But are you actually there for your people when you're needed? Are you available after hours? That's a tough one. Now, excuse me, I'm going to switch cameras because this one's freaking me out. I'm getting a little tired of being the red man. But are you reliable? You have to ask yourself that. If you have a team member in trouble after hours, can they call you? So here's an analogy I want you to think of. In old England, there was the whole thing about the hats. You know, lower level management wore a bolo. Bolos were the rounded with the little brim. As you moved up in management, you got to wear the top hat. And I think we all know what a top hat is. In old England, you were not a leader 9 to 5. You were a leader through life. People around you that didn't even work for you, people in your neighborhood respected you because, basically, of the hat that you wore. And you should look this up because it's really interesting that if you remember on Mary Poppins, and I know I'm bringing Mary Poppins up, they put a hole in his hat as a sign of disrespect. And that was a tragedy because not only did he lose respect in his workplace, but he lost respect in all of his environment. Okay? So true leaders are leaders always. They're leaders at work. They're leaders at home. They're leaders in their private life and their public life. No matter where they are always acting as a leader. If that makes sense, let me know in the chat. Scott Dennis says, always available. Yes, thank you. That is true. The camera is a lot better. You look sunburnt on the other side. Yeah, I know. I moved my lights around. I'm really experimenting. It's been tough, but I'm getting there. You know, I'm excited. You know, I'm an old guy and I'm learning a young man's trade here with these YouTube videos, and I'm actually excited. I'm moving forward. Learn and teach, right? Learn and teach. I'm not ready to start that channel where I start teaching people things, but actually, you probably don't want me to teach you anything. I'm still learning too much. The next thing we need to talk about is consistency. Are you consistent every day? Or does your team members come in going, geez, I wonder what kind of mood he's going to be in today. I wonder what's going to be the flavor of the day thing that we have to worry about. Or after yesterday, what's going to be his pet peeve? Is he going to have a pet peeve today that we haven't heard of before? Like, you know, I want your pencils on the right side. I want your hair parted on the left side. I mean, that unpredictability, that makes things fall apart. Wouldn't you agree? You want that consistency as a leader because that helps build your credit. When people come into the workplace, and let's face it, get up, go to work, go home, go to bed. When you have consistency in your leadership, that is a comfort zone. You know how to operate. You know how to work through the day. You know how to communicate. So being consistent is extremely important. Not being, I'm going to be on this side of the spectrum today. I'm going to be on that side of the spectrum today. I'm in a good mood today. I'm in a bad mood tomorrow. You know, and I understand, you know, we're all human. But when you take that deep breath and you walk into those doors and there's people that are depending on you to be their leader, think about it. Consistency really matters. Because it's not about you. It's all about everybody else. And to be a true leader, That's the first thing you need to understand. It's about them, not you. So be consistent every single day in everything that you do. Make sense? Go ahead and throw some things in the chat there if you want to chime in on that. Remember, the reason why I do these lives is I want you to be part of the conversation. And I'm excited right now. We're building up some people in the chat right now. I'm looking at my stats. We got some people on the sidelines. That's working out pretty good. So yeah, go ahead and chime in. Let me know how you feel about that. So this is a tough one. I'm going to go back to being sunburnt. Let's go ahead and switch scenes here. How about factual versus emotional? And this is tough because you're dealing with people every day, right? And when you deal with people every day, you're dealing with emotions. Could have been a hard night. Could have been family matters the night before. All kinds of things do happen. However, I want to hit this home with you right now. And the fact of the matter is, I gotta get used. I need someone on the sidelines that does this for me. The fact of the matter is, and I want you to memorize this for the rest of your life, emotions are real. If someone's emotional about something, it is absolutely real, even if it's unfounded, even if it is not based on fact. Because there's an emotional attachment to whatever's going on in the environment, in the team, in the department, that emotion is real and it needs to be addressed as if it's fact. And we sometimes skip that and we sometimes dismiss that. Oh, you're overreacting. No, don't worry about that. No, you shouldn't even feel that way. That's a bad course of action. Validate the feelings. Emotional feelings are so real that they become fact in the person that is having those, even if it's unfounded. What we need to do is allow the person to vent, understand the emotional attachment to the situation, and start to dissect it. As leaders, we dissect it and find the facts. As we discover the facts, then we can present the facts, having knowledge, never argue from a point of no knowledge. And then we can start helping the person work through the emotional side that they're attached to. So a great example is someone comes in and says, you know what, management doesn't care about us they don't even care about us. Okay, I need to know more. We need to open up that conversation. Because as leaders, we know, well, hopefully in the organization that we're leaders in, that the organization does really care for the person. And we know that. We have to address the emotional side of the team member as if it was fact. And we need to kind of reverse engineer that back so that they understand how their emotions have clouded what the actual facts are. Does that make sense? I really want to open that conversation up. I'm looking at the chat right now. I got Scott here. He says, consistency as a leader leads to others being confident in you. Yes. Yeah, you have to have consistency. And dealing with emotions, they're very tricky. I don't want you to dismiss them. I don't want you to brush them off. She's crazy. She always thinks that it's an attack against her and everything like that. Deal with it. Extract the facts and have a healthy dialogue. Because I can tell you the worst thing you can do is dismiss someone's emotions. I think I harped on that enough, right? Give me a thumbs up if you think I harped on that one a little too much. And the reason why I do is because I see too many leaders go down that path. and then the leader ends up being emotional, and it just ends up being an emotional conversation, sometimes turns into an emotional argument, and nobody wins in the end. Actively listening. Interesting how that's the next one, right? Learning to actively listen. That's a tough one because we're busy. Every day we're busy. Got to get to an appointment. We have an interview. We have things that we're under the gun to get done on a daily basis. To actually find the time sometimes to sit down and actively listen can be a challenge in itself, right? Not easy. Time management, setting aside time so that we can do that. That's really important. That brings our credit score up. When we blow people off and we try to rush through the actively listening portion, we lose credibility quickly. As a matter of fact, we go back to the emotional side where, well, they don't really care. That's not a good place to be. Come on. As leaders, we're supposed to help develop people, help people grow. We're supposed to work through the problems blamelessly. And in the end, achieve a level of communication that's beneficial to all. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Such responsibility. But when you're looking at leadership and a credit rating, look at all of these little elements that starts to build that credit rating. Because when you have good credit as a leader, you have loyal followers. Loyalty starts to set in. And with loyalty comes grace. When you start to make mistakes, you'll get a lot of grace from your followers because they are loyal to you because of your credit. Interesting. Teaching. Learn to teach. Try it out. If you want to become a leader in your organization, you first have to learn to start teaching. Start teaching. Think about it. What am I going to teach someone today? That's what it's all about. In the end, what have you taught? What is your legacy? I know I'm kind of blurring the lines here, but a true leader wants to pass the baton on to someone else. They want someone else to pick up where they left off. If no one's there to pick up where you leave off, then everything you did was for nothing. Think about that. Everything you did was for nothing. Nothing. You're gone. No one to fill that gap. Learn how to teach. The teacher will sometimes bring in the followers. And that's important. It really is. We're talking about building your credit as a leader. And sometimes there's the unteachable person. I get it. But we're looking at the big picture here. The very big picture. I haven't seen anything come into the chat lately. Let's see. Might be having problems. Let me look at what's going on here. All right. So, the next thing about building credibility will be keeping your word. Do what you say you are going to do. Now, really? We can throw a lot of hot air out there. A lot of leaders do that. Do what you say you were going to do. If you promised an employee, if you promised a team member something, make sure that you follow through with it all the way to the end. That builds credibility. There is nothing better than, Chris Tyrell threw a test out. I see you, Chris. Awesome. There is nothing that will ruin your credibility more than when you fall and not follow through with what you said you were going to do. If you say you're going to look into something, look into something. If you say, I will definitely take care of that, whatever it is, take care of it. And don't wait too long. And again, I get it. Been there so long. When you give your word that you're going to do something, that's your currency. That's your value. There's nothing worse than you say, I'm going to take care of this, and a week later, hey, are you going to do something about this? Yeah, I'm working on it. And another week goes by. Are you going to take care of this? Yeah, I'm working on it. And another week goes by. You know, do what you say you're going to do. We don't want to get snowballed. We don't want to snowball other people. We have two things in life, our word and your name. Absolutely. Hey, and that goes to one of the videos that I've done earlier. If you're here on the replay or you're here sitting on the sidelines, you know, go to the channel. There's a great video about image, you know, where my father said that our name is the only thing we have in the end, is our name. And our name is what we're going to leave behind when we leave this earth. Our legacy and our name. Protect the family name. And the one way to protect your family name is with your word. You should chat. Oh, you said chat mine not be working? It was just testing it for you. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means, Chris. But thank you for testing it out. I appreciate that. So keeping your word. And, you know, I'm going to open the next one up, and I'm going to try to coax you guys into chiming in on this one. Fairness. Treating everybody with equal fairness. Now, I know a fact that is tough. Here's what I mean about that. I understand that some people in the organization need more attention than others. But should they be treated better? Should they be treated differently? So, if the number one founding principle of Pathway to Leadership is to learn and teach, and we further that with developing others, how do we maintain the balance of fairness when it comes to developing others when certain individuals need more attention than others? I think it's something to really think about. It's a fine line that you have to dance on. Because if you are paying attention to one of your team members more than the rest of the team, then from the outside looking in, you might look like you're practicing favoritism. Scott Finger says, it's hard to do. It depends on the situation, depends on experience, depends on the person and the passion. Depends on the passion. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Depends on the passion. So, let's say we have a 5-person team and one person is lagging on the team. And it seems like, you know, every day the leader is spending hours with this one person and seems to be ignoring the rest. You see where I'm going with that, right? It can sometimes feel, again, feelings are real. We have to admit that. It can feel like to the other team members that this person's getting all the attention, I'm not getting any. And that can harbor some, you know, bad feelings in the end. So I guess that's the toughest thing when it comes to credibility. How do you balance your fairness throughout the organization, throughout the team, throughout the department? And it has to be balanced. So if you have a team member that's lagging and you have to pay more attention to that team member, you're going to have to look at the rest of your team to make sure that there is some type of attention going to the rest of the team. And be careful, because sometimes, as a leader, you want things to just happen automatically. I don't have to manage anymore. I'm such a great leader that my team works independently and I don't have to worry about them at all. That would be the ultimate goal, right? You've taught, you've developed, and everybody, every day, they come in at whatever time and they just run for it. And you don't have to do anything. That would be the ultimate goal, but unfortunately that's not reality. So to operate on a daily basis in the flavor of fairness can sometimes be very difficult. So I'm opening it up. I want you to chime in into the chat. What do you think your leadership score is? I'm not saying put a number in there or anything. But after what we just discussed this evening, you know, there's a lot of areas that affect our credit score every day in leadership. What do you think is the most important one? I laid out what I thought, but you know what? These lives are for you, and I would really like you to chime in. I want to read some of your comments. I'm going to back up a little bit on some of these comments. I mean, Scott Finger said that consistency is very important. I believe in that. I believe in consistency so much. I believe that your word in the end is very important. I do believe that it's hard, that everything can be situational, and that's where experience comes in. That's where learn. You know, ourselves as leaders, we have to sit back and learn as much as we can. So, I think where we ended up this evening is a good place. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. And after it's over, if you want to go ahead and drop some comments below, those of you that are joining us on Pathway to Leadership for the first time, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and put some comments below. I respond to all the comments. We're building a community of leaders here. And I want you to join us and move forward on your pathway to leadership. And one final message from Scott Finger: honesty. Be true to yourself so you can be true to others. Yes. Chris Tyrell: doing what you say you're going to do and follow through. It's tough. It's tough. We're all under time restraints. It is tough. But a true leader will find time to do it. You have to agree with that. It's not easy sometimes. You know, sometimes if you're in a position of responsibility where the world just seems to be falling apart around you. Well, guess what? You know, as leaders, we take that world that's falling apart and we piece it back together and we move forward. And when you get really good, people go, "Hey, how'd you do that? You made it look so effortlessly." Yeah, another tongue twister. Effortlessly. But I guarantee you, you know, if you stay true to yourself, you stay true to your team members, and you think about your credit score on a daily basis, you're definitely on the right path to leadership. I'm John. I will see you next time on Pathway to Leadership.